Kyiv, June 27,
It's all
2017.
about the details.
An accountant sits down at her
Every
desk,
number tells a
coffee
story.
in hand,
If you're
opens her
willing to look
laptop,
close enough.
logs into the software her company's used for years to file taxes. Nothing unusual. Just another Tuesday. 40 seconds later, her screen goes black. Then red text. A ransom note. Pay in Bitcoin, it says, and you'll get your files back. She doesn't know it yet, but that promise is a lie. There is no
Wait,
key waiting
this
on the
doesn't
other end.
balance.
No amount of money will undo what's already happening inside her machine. Because this was never really ransomware. It was a weapon wearing a disguise. And right now, in offices just like hers across the country, thousands of other people are staring at the exact same black screen, having the exact same terrible morning. By the end of the day, dock workers at ports on the other side of the world will be turning away trucks by hand. Hospital staff will be scrambling for paper records. Factory workers will be sent home because the machines that need computers to run have simply stopped. And one piece of code, released by someone who may never be fully identified, will end up costing the world more money than any cyber attack in history. This is NotPetya, named after a real strain of ransomware it disguised itself as. But whoever built it didn't care about getting paid. There was no real way to unlock what it locked, even if you paid. It wasn't built to steal money. It was built to break things, quietly, permanently, and on a scale that honestly, even its own creators may not have expected. To understand how something this destructive started, you have to picture something almost boring. A small Ukrainian accounting company, the kind of business nobody thinks twice about, that happened to make software nearly every company in the country was legally required to use. That software was called MEDoc. Every accountant, every small business owner, every finance department in Ukraine used it to file taxes. Not because they wanted to, but because the law said they had to. That made it the perfect target. Not because it was valuable, because everyone trusted it. Someone got inside MEDoc's update servers months in advance and just waited. When the software pushed its next routine update, the kind of update people click yes to without even reading, it wasn't just patching bugs anymore. It was quietly handing the attackers a door into thousands of companies at once, all on the same ordinary Tuesday, through a source nobody had any reason to distrust. No suspicious email, no individual person to blame for clicking the wrong thing. Just one update from a program people had used safely for years, suddenly turned into something else entirely. Once it was inside a company's network, it didn't sit quietly the way some malware does. It moved immediately, using a leaked NSA tool to jump from computer to computer without anyone clicking anything at all. It also did something colder. It pulled login credentials straight out of infected computer's memory, then used those stolen logins to let itself into the next machine, and the next, and the next. It moved through offices the way a systems administrator would move between machines, except in seconds, not days. Within minutes, entire office floors were going dark, one screen at a time. And when it finished spreading, it locked the very first piece of code a computer reads when it powers on. Without that, a machine doesn't just lose its files. It doesn't turn on again. At all. That ransom note asking for Bitcoin? It was never connected to anything that could actually undo the damage. Paying didn't help. It was never supposed to. Because it spread through a trusted software update, not a link someone had to click. It didn't stay inside Ukraine's borders. Any company with even one computer connected to a Ukrainian office was suddenly exposed, whether they'd ever heard of MEDoc or not. Maersk, the world's largest shipping company, had exactly one infected machine in one regional office. That was enough. Within hours, employees at 17 port terminals around the world watched their systems go dark, one after another. Trucks lined up outside gates with nowhere to unload. Dock workers who normally coordinated everything by computer were suddenly doing it by hand, by radio, by shouting across the yard. IT staff resorted to personal phones and WhatsApp groups just to keep the ports from grinding to a complete stop, while trying to rebuild tens of thousands of machines from scratch. At Merck, the pharmaceutical company, staff watched production lines for a vaccine come to a halt, a shortfall the U.S. eventually had to cover using the national stockpile. A FedEx subsidiary in Europe. Hospitals in Pennsylvania where staff pulled out paper charts because the computers wouldn't turn on. A chocolate factory in Australia, its production line stopped cold. None of these people had anything to do with Ukraine, or the software, or whatever conflict this was actually about. They just happened to be connected, however distantly, to something that was. By the time the damage was tallied, estimates put the total cost above $10 billion, making it, by financial impact, the most expensive cyber attack ever recorded. It didn't work because it was clever. It worked because nobody involved, not the companies, not the software vendor, maybe not even the people who built it, expected it to spread quite this far, quite this fast, hitting people who never saw it coming.